Listen up. You've been lied to. Society told you that chasing, pleading, and proving your worth will make an avoidant man come back. Wrong. That's the biggest trap. The harder you chase, the faster he runs. But today I'm handing you the ultimate power play. A psychological shift so profound, it will shake the very core of his avoidance. If you execute this, you won't just get his attention, you'll make him obsess over you. You don't listen to me. Right now, you are stuck in a cycle that has been destroying your power. You feel it, don't you? The anxiety, the overthinking, the constant wondering, why isn't he texting back? What is he thinking? Should I send another message? You keep trying to be patient, but deep down, you're screaming for an answer. You want clarity. You want reassurance. And that is exactly why he's running. An avoidant man is like a deer in the wild. The second he senses pursuit, he bolts. And you've been running after him like your life depends on it. Desperation, energy, neediness, it's radiating off you, and he can feel it. He may not even be aware of it consciously, but something inside him is pulling away. And every time you reach out, every time you ask wrong, every time you send that one more text, you confirm his worst fear. You are trying to consume him. But here's where everything flips. The second you stop chasing, his world tilts. His reality starts shifting in ways he never expected. Suddenly, he's the one looking at his phone, noticing the silence, feeling the shift in energy. And let me tell you something that will shake your soul. Nothing haunts a man more than the absence of a woman who once adored him. When you disappear, it's not just about going quiet. It's not about playing games. It's about something much deeper. It's about stepping into a new energy where you are no longer seeking validation. You are no longer the woman waiting, hoping, needing him to choose you. No. You are the woman who chooses herself. And when that happens, you become untouchable. Picture this. One day he wakes up and something feels off. There's no good morning text, no check-ins, no signs that you're waiting for him to show up. And at first, he might not react. He might even think, oh, she finally got the message. But then as the hours pass, as the days go by, something unsettling starts creeping in the void. Your absence is like a shadow that follows him. He starts wondering, did she move on? Is she talking to someone else? And just like that, the man who once pulled away is now the one checking his phone, scrolling through old messages, revisiting conversations in his mind. The woman he thought would always be there isn't. And that's when the fear sets in. But here's where most people fail. They panic in the silence. They can't handle it. After a few days, they crack. What if he thinks I don't care? What if he forgets about me? What if he moves on? And just like that, they reach out. A simple hey, a reaction to his story. A weak attempt to break the silence. And Bebo power is lost. Because let me tell you something. If you reach out first, he doesn't feel your absence. If you make the first move, he doesn't feel the void. And if he doesn't feel the void, he never has to question what he lost. You must hold the silence. You must let him feel it. And more importantly, you must become so busy, so focused on yourself that you don't even notice whether he reaches out or not. And I know this part is hard, as every cell in your body is going to scream to do something. Every part of you will want to check his social media, see if he's online, analyze his posts for secret messages. Don't DOIT, because every time you do, you're still chasing. Even if you're not texting, your energy is still reaching for him. And an avoidant man can sense that. You have to go all in on you. You have to disappear into your own life, not as a strategy, not as a way to manipulate, but because you are done making someone else the center of your world. You wake up and instead of thinking, will he text me today? You think, what do I want today? Instead of checking the social media, you go build your own empire. Instead of waiting, you move. You shift, you create. And that is when the shift happens. Because here's the brutal truth of brutal men don't come back because they miss you. They come back because they fear losing access to you. They are drawn to scarcity. They don't value what is readily available. They value what they think they can't have. And when you pull away, not as a game, but as a genuine reclamation of your power, you become the very thing they crave. A mystery. Imagine this moment. He picks up his phone, expecting to see your name. Nothing. He scrolls through Instagram, assuming you're watching his stories. Crickets. Days go by. A week, maybe two. And then something snaps inside him. He goes to type a message, pauses, deletes it. Thinks, scrolls again. He's trying to figure out what changed. Because before he knew where he stood with you. He knew you wanted him. But now you're a question mark. Now he's the one wondering. And when he finally reaches out, that's when you know. That's when you see the power of your absence. That's when you realize he was never running from you. He was running from his own emotions. And the only way to make him confront them is by disappearing with purpose. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. If you feel him run away, let him step him. Step back. Fall into yourself. Walk away with power, because the moment you do, he will feel listen carefully, because this will change everything. Right now, you've been operating from a place of fear, from a place of lack. You're afraid of losing him. You're afraid he's slipping away. You're afraid that if you don't show him how much you care, he'll forget about you. But let me tell you the brutal truth. You are not his priority because you have made yourself too available. You have given him certainty, and certainty breeds complacency. The moment he knows he has you, he no longer needs to pursue you. And that is where most people get trapped. They think if they just love harder, if they prove themselves, if they keep the connection alive, then eventually he will appreciate them. But what they don't realize is that value is determined by scarcity. Think about the most expensive things in the world: gold, diamonds, luxury cars, private islands. Do they chase people? Do they beg to be chosen? No, they sit there in their unattainable glory and people fight for them. They invest in them. They obsess over them. And that is exactly the energy you must step into. You must become the rare, unattainable force that he never quite feels he can fully grasp. And when you do that, you change the game forever. Right now, he expects you to be predictable. He expects you to respond instantly. He expects you to be waiting. And that expectation is exactly why he doesn't feel urgency. You have trained him to believe that no matter what he does, you will always be there. You have trained him to see you as an option, not a prize. And that stops today. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer predictable. You are no longer easy to access. You are no longer the woman who waits by the phone, wondering if you will choose her today. You are the woman who moves like a storm, who shifts like the wind, who cannot be pinned down or figured out. When a man doesn't know where he stands with you, his mind starts working against him. He starts questioning. He starts doubting. And that is when he becomes invested. Not when you are pouring love into him. Not when you are showing him that you're always there. But when he feels that he might lose you, that's when his primal instinct kicks in. That's when his brain starts obsessing. So here's what you stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your actions. You stop making sure he knows how you feel. He doesn't need to know how you feel. He needs to feel your absence, your distance, your shift. He needs to experience what it's like when he no longer has full access to you. That's when the panic sets in. That's when he starts questioning if he was wrong to pull away. Because let's get one thing straight, avoidant men don't chase love. They chase what they fear losing. They don't value what's freely given. They value what they think they can't have. So every time you over-explain, every time you try to make him feel comfortable, every time you reassure him that you'll always be there, you are killing the attraction. You are making yourself too easy, too predictable, too safe, and safety does not create passion. Uncertainty does. You must become the kind of woman that keeps him guessing. And this is not about playing games. This is about stepping into your full power. Because when you are truly living for you, when you are prioritizing your growth, your success, your happiness, you don't have time to sit around analyzing his every move. You don't have time to monitor his texts, to decode his behavior, to figure out what he wants. You are too busy living a life that is too big, too expansive, too powerful for him to ignore. He needs to feel that at any moment you could walk away. He needs to feel that at any moment another man could take his place. He needs to feel that at any moment you could choose yourself over him. And the second he feels that, his behavior shifts. He starts showing up differently. He starts pursuing you. He starts craving your attention. Not because you begged, not because you convinced him, but because he now sees you as something that could slip through his fingers. And this is where most people fail. They try to fake this energy. They pretend to be busy. They post things to make him jealous. They wait a few hours before texting back just to seem unavailable. But here's the truth. You can't fake being high value. You either are or you're not. And the only way to truly become high value is to actually stop focusing on him and start building a life that is so rich, so exciting, so deeply fulfilling that his presence or absence doesn't even matter. You need to be out there making moves. You need to be glowing in your own success. You need to be expanding your mind, your world, your experiences. Because let me tell you something, when a man senses that a woman is fully secure within herself, when he senses that she does not need him but could choose him, that's when he starts chasing. That's when he starts feeling the fear of missing out. That's when he starts seeing you as the woman who is beyond his reach. And the second you become that woman, you become irresistible. But here's where it gets even more powerful. The more you step into this energy, the more you start to change. Suddenly, you're not just pretending to be high value, you are high value. You don't just look like a woman who knows her worth, you actually feel it. When you feel it, when you fully embody it, you stop wanting the things that once made you desperate. You stop craving the validation. You stop chasing the unavailable man because suddenly you are the one choosing. You are the one deciding if he even deserves access to you. And this is what will shock you the most when you finally step into this power. When you finally become the woman who is no longer chasing, he becomes the one who is afraid of losing you. Because now you are the mystery. You are the woman he can't quite figure out. You are the woman he thought he could keep at a distance, but now he's the one checking his phone. Now he's the one analyzing your behavior. Now he's the one wondering if you've lost interest. And at that point, everything changes because now the roles are reversed. Now he is the one seeking validation. Now he is the one trying to prove himself. Now he is the one questioning if you even want him. And the best part, you're not even playing a game. You're simply living in your power and your self-worth and your highest energy. So the next time you feel the urge to chase, to prove, to explain, stop. Pull back. Shift your focus inward. Become the kind of woman who doesn't need to chase because she is too busy living a life that others chase to be a part of. And watch as everything begins to fall into place. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change everything you thought you knew about this situation. You've been operating from a mindset that is keeping you stuck. That is making you feel powerless. That is making you feel like you have no control over what happens next. But that ends today. That ends right now, because you are about to wake up to a truth so undeniable that once you see it, you can never unsee it. You have been trained to believe that the way to get him to come back, the way to make him stop pulling away, the way to finally have the relationship you want is to somehow convince him. Convince him that you're worth it. Convince him that love is safe. Convince him that he should choose you, that he should stay, that he should stop running. And so you adjust, you shrink, you soften, you try not to trigger and try not to be too much. Try to be the perfect balance of available but not clingy, loving but not overwhelming, patient but not weak. And all the while, do you know what you're really doing? You are negotiating your worth. But let me tell you something that is going to shake you to your core. You do not negotiate your worth. You do not prove your value. You do not convince someone to see you as irreplaceable. Either they feel it or they don't. And the moment you start trying to be good enough for someone to stay, you have already lost. Because a person who truly values you does not need convincing. A person who truly wants you does not need proof. Right now, you are playing the game on his terms. You are reacting to his energy, to his moods, to his level of engagement. If he's attentive, you feel good. If he's distant, you feel anxious. You relax. If he ignores you, you spiral. And whether you realize it or not, he feels that. He feels that he has power over the dynamic, that he dictates how connected or disconnected you feel. And that is why he doesn't fear losing you. Because deep down, he knows no matter what he does, you're still there, still waiting, still hoping, still invested. But imagine for a moment, what if the roles were reversed? What if he was the one feeling uncertain? What if he was the one who had to wonder whether he was good enough for you? What if he was the one who had to fight for your attention, your time, your love? Because let me tell you something that no one else will. Avoidants don't chase certainty. They chase what they can't fully have. They are drawn to challenge, to mystery, to the feeling that they need to work for something. Because their biggest fear is being consumed, being trapped, being forced into a relationship where they feel obligated rather than inspired. So you stop making it easy. You stop over-explaining. You stop making him comfortable. You stop waiting for his texts, waiting for his validation, waiting for some moment where he finally decides you're enough. You shift your energy so completely that he feels it in his bones. Because here's the truth, energy does not lie. A man can feel when a woman is waiting for him, and he can feel when a woman is in her power. And let me tell you which one he's drawn to, the one who doesn't need him. Not because she doesn't care. Not because she's playing games, but because she is so deeply in her own worth, so fully rooted in her own value that she doesn't need to chase. She doesn't need to prove anything. She doesn't need to anxiously analyze his every move because she already knows that the right man will show up fully, completely willingly. And that is what shakes an avoidant man awake. That is what makes him suddenly feel something he has never felt before, the fear of loss. Because when you are no longer predictable, when you are no longer easily available, when you are no longer playing his game, he feels it. He feels the shift. And it doesn't matter how much he has convinced himself that he doesn't need anyone, because when he realizes that the one person who gave him love without conditions is no longer just there, that is when everything inside him wakes up. And listen, he might not even understand it at first. He might not realize why he suddenly feels uncomfortable, why he suddenly feels a pull toward you. He might even try to rationalize it, convince himself that he's just curious, just checking in, just seeing what's going on. But make no mistake, his instincts know the truth. His subconscious mind knows that something has changed, that you are no longer his safe option, that you are no longer waiting in the background for him to decide when or if he wants to show up. And that is what makes him act. That is what makes him chase. Because avoidants are only ever truly afraid of one thing being left behind. They are afraid of attachment, but they are terrified of losing someone who actually mattered. And when you stop being an option, when you stop waiting, when you stop giving him the emotional security of knowing you're still invested, that is when he has to face himself. That is when he has to decide whether he's going to step up or step out. And listen carefully, some of them will step out. Some of them will let you walk away because their fear is stronger than their desire to change. And that is not your problem. That is not your failure. That is not proof that you weren't enough. That is proof that he wasn't ready. And you do not waste your life waiting for someone to be ready for what you already deserve. Because the real prize here, it's not getting him back. It's not making him chase. It's not proving your worth. The real prize is becoming the kind of woman who never again settles for someone who makes her question her own value. The real win is stepping so fully into your own confidence that whether he comes back or not, it doesn't matter because you have already won. And let me tell you something, when you reach that point, when you fully embrace that power, that energy, that undeniable certainty in your own worth. The man who once pulled away, the man who once took you for granted, the man who once thought he could keep you at arm's length will feel it. He will feel the shift. He will feel the loss. And whether he comes running back or not, whether he suddenly realizes what he had or not, it will no longer define you. Because now you are free, and there is nothing more powerful than a woman who knows that the only validation she ever needed was her own. Listen to me and listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is going to break everything you thought you knew about dealing with an avoidant man. You've been taught to believe that love is about giving more, proving more, showing up more. You've been conditioned to think that if you just communicate better, if you just make him feel safer, if you just love him hard enough, he will stop running. But that's a lie. That is the single biggest trap that keeps people stuck in painful, one-sided relationships. Because let me tell you something most people will never admit: an avoidant man doesn't pull away because of you. He pulls away because of himself. And the harder you try to keep him close, the more suffocated he feels. Right now, every instinct inside you is telling you to fix things, to reach out, to explain, to get him to understand what you meant. Maybe if you just say it the right way, he'll finally get it. Maybe if you just show him you're not trying to control him, he'll stop being distant. Maybe if you just wait long enough, he'll come back on his own. But none of that works. Because here's what you need to understand deep in your soul: avoidants don't run from love. They run from themselves. And to flip the script is to make him chase Ozodo in fear. You have to become the trigger instead of being the one who gets triggered. Right now, you're reacting. You're responding to his distance. You're playing the game on his terms. And that's why you feel powerless. But the moment you stop reacting, the moment you shift your energy so that HE is the one feeling uncertain, everything changes. Because avoidants aren't afraid of losing you. They're afraid of losing their control over the situation. And when they feel like they have full control, when they know they can come and go as they please, when they know you'll always be there, when they know you'll never really leave, that's when they relax. That's when they take their time. That's when they pull away, knowing that whenever they decide to return, you'll still be standing there waiting. But imagine this. Imagine he wakes up one day expecting everything to be the same. He expects you to be there waiting for him to figure things out. He expects to feel that sense of security, knowing that even if he disappears for a while, he can always come back. But then something feels different. He checks his phone. No message, no check-in, no validation. He opens your social media expecting to see you watching his stories, maybe posting something sad, maybe trying to send him a subtle hint. But there's nothing. Instead, you are living, you are moving, you are becoming someone he no longer recognizes, someone he no longer has control over. And suddenly he feels something he hasn't felt in a long time: discomfort. That discomfort is power. Because here's the truth: avoidants are masters at avoiding their own emotions. They bury their feelings. They detach. They convince themselves they don't need anyone. But the second you become the one who is distant, the second you become the one they can't quite read, that's when they start feeling what you have been feeling all this time. And they won't know how to handle it. Because for the first time, the roles are reversed. Think about how many times you sat there staring at your phone, wondering if he's thinking about you. How many times you've analyzed his text, looking for some hidden meaning. How many nights you've spent questioning if you did something wrong. Now imagine him with that. Imagine him the one who can't quite figure things out. Imagine him being the one who suddenly feels a sense of urgency because he can something slipping away, but he can't tell what. That is what happens when you stop playing his game. That is what happens when you become unavailable. Because let me tell you something: avoidants don't respond to love. They respond to loss. They don't react to words. They react to energy. You can talk all day about how you understand his trauma, how you're willing to be patient, how you're different from everyone else. It won't make a difference. But the second he feels you pulling away, the second he senses that you are no longer fully present, that is when he starts to panic. And that panic is what makes him act. But here's where most people fail. The moment he reaches out, they jump. They see his text, and suddenly all their power disappears. They respond immediately. They over-explain. They rush to reassure him that they're still there. And just like that, the dynamic shifts back, and he relaxes again. He stops feeling the urgency because he realizes, oh, she's still here. And the cycle starts all over again. You cannot break this pattern by playing it safe. You cannot break this pattern by giving in the moment you feel relief. You have to hold the line. You have to stay in your power, because what you are doing is making him chase his Odo in fear. You are forcing him to sit with the uncertainty, the very thing he has been making you sit with for so long. And when that fear starts eating at him, when he starts wondering if you've truly moved on, when he starts feeling like maybe he was wrong, to away that is when you have the power. And the best part, by the time he reaches out, you won't even feel desperate anymore. You won't feel like you need his attention, his validation, his reassurance, because the process of pulling back, of choosing yourself, of becoming unavailable has already changed you. You've already stepped into a new version of yourself, a version that doesn't settle for breadcrumbs, a version that doesn't need to chase, a version that is too busy living an incredible life to waste another second waiting for a man who doesn't know what he wants. And at that point, the choice isn't even his anymore, it's yours. Because the truth is, by the time he realizes what he had, you might not even want him anymore. You might look at him and think, why was I ever waiting for someone who couldn't even see my value? You might realize that the only reason he was ever so desirable in the first place was because you were in a mindset that made you believe you had to earn love. But now you know better. Now you are better. And now the real question isn't, will he come back? The real question is, do I even care anymore? You need to understand this at your core, the reason he is distant, the reason he pulls away, the reason you feel like you're constantly trying to reach him while he stays just out of your grasp is not because he doesn't care. It's not because he doesn't feel something for you. It's because he has been programmed to resist attachment. He has learned somewhere deep in his subconscious that closeness is a threat. That love comes with a price. That the moment he allows himself to fully connect, he will lose something, his freedom, his control, his sense of self. And so he keeps you at arm's length, not because he doesn't want you, but because wanting you makes him uncomfortable. And the biggest mistake people make in this situation, trying to fix that discomfort. You've been doing it without even realizing. You try to reassure him. You try to be patient. You try to prove that you're different, that you won't hurt him, that you're safe. You soften your edges. You shrink yourself. You dim your own needs just to make him feel more secure. But let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. Security does not make an avoidant man chase. It makes him relax. The moment he feels like he has you, the moment he knows you'll always be there, the urgency disappears. The fire burns out. He no longer has to fight for you because he knows he doesn't have to. And you can feel it, can't you? That moment when the energy shifts, when he starts responding less, when his messages become shorter, when he stops initiating, when it feels like he's just not as present as he used to be. You feel it in your gut, and it triggers something deep inside of you, a panic, a need to bring him back in. So you try harder, you reach out more, you make yourself more available. You think, maybe if I just show him how much I care, he'll see that he doesn't have to run. But all you're doing is making him run faster. Because the moment he senses that you are investing more than he is, he pulls away even further. Not consciously, not out of cruelty, but because suddenly he feels trapped. And avoidance thrives on distance. The more space he has, the safer it feels. So if you're the one always closing the gap, if you're the one always trying to fix the disconnection, you are playing directly into his pattern. You are giving him exactly what he expects, certainty. And certainty kills attraction. So what do? You do the one thing he never expects. You stop trying. You stop chasing. You stop explaining, proving, convincing. You stop making yourself the one who holds the connection together. You step back. You remove your energy. Disappear from his predictable reality. Because let me tell you something, most people will never understand avoidance, don't respond to love. They respond to loss. The second he feels your absence, the second he realizes that the dynamic has shifted, that he is no longer in control of when and how he engages with you, his brain goes into panic mode. He doesn't even understand why it's not logical. He convinced himself that he needed space, that he was better off keeping things at a distance. But now there's a void, and avoidants don't like voids. They don't know how to handle them because suddenly all that space they thought they wanted starts to feel like emptiness. And that emptiness starts working against him because now he doesn't feel relief. He feels something he hasn't felt in a long time, doubt. He starts questioning himself. He starts wondering if he made a mistake. He starts replaying moments in his head. Moments where you were fully there, fully present, fully invested. And he realizes those moments are gone. He no longer has full access to you. And for the first time, he is the one who feels uncertain. And let me tell you what happens next, because it is predictable, because it is psychology. He reaches out, maybe in a small way at first. A casual text, a random question, something that seems insignificant. But don't be fooled, it's a test. He wants to see if you'll jump back in the way you always have. If you'll immediately respond, if you'll reassure him, validate him, give him back that sense of security that allows him to relax. And this is where most people fail. The moment he reaches out, they give in. They get excited. They think, finally, he's back. And they fall right back into the old pattern. They respond instantly. They engage fully. They pour their energy back into him. And just like that, the cycle starts all over again. But not you. Not this time. Because now you understand the game. Now you see the pattern for what it is. And now you do something completely different. You don't rush to respond. You don't throw yourself back into his world. You take your time. You stay unpredictable. You show him through your actions that you are no longer the woman who waits. You are no longer the woman who prioritizes his emotional comfort over your own self-respect. You are no longer the woman who makes it easy. And that is what flips the script forever. Because suddenly he is the one feeling uncertain. He's the one questioning where he stands with you. He is the one who feels like he is losing something, and that feeling is the single most powerful motivator in the human brain. People don't change when they feel comfortable. They change when they feel the risk of losing something valuable. And when you become that valuable thing, when you become the woman who cannot be easily figured out, predicted, or called, that is when he chases. Because let me tell you something so powerful, so undeniable, that once you truly understand it, you will never see relationships the same way again. Avoidance may act like they don't need anyone, but that is a lie. It is a survival mechanism, a shield they have built to protect themselves. But deep down, they crave connection just as much as you do. The difference is they only fight for it when they feel it slipping away. So the question is, are you going to keep making it easy? Are you going to keep feeding into his need for control, for certainty, for emotional distance? Or are you going to flip the script and make him realize that you are the one thing he cannot afford to lose? Because the moment you step into that energy, the moment you stop playing the game on his terms, everything shifts. Suddenly he is the one overthinking. He's the one feeling the fear of loss. He is the one trying to figure out. And that is the moment you win.